Nets do come equipped with proper tags that'll tell us where the top center of the net is. There's also another tag located at the back center, which is typically a red zip tie. Other things that we want to take note of when you're setting your net up before you start stringing is you may want to put zip ties in the top corners and also the back corners of the net. Stretching the net out and making sure that it's oriented square and symmetrical will make this a much easier task. You're going to need to cut your rope down. So the best tool that you can possibly use to cut your rope is a brand new utility knife. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to fold the end of your string over to create a loop. You put the knife into the loop and then pull. And what you'll notice is this does create a little bit of fraying. So the best way to deal with that fray is to use a lighter and just hold it near the flame. It doesn't need to be inside the flame. We just want to get it close enough that we singe the ends, and as you can see, no more fray. Alternatively, another way that you can cut the end of the string is using diagonal pliers or side cutters. This does work, however, what you'll notice is that when you cut, it's not going to cut all the way through. Okay, so you may have to pull it, you may need to cut it a second time. At the end of the day, this can create more fraying, but it doesn't matter whether you use the knife or the side cutters, you still need to clean up the end of your string with the lighter to make sure that everything's clean. There are three popular ways that you'll find nets being strung. The first one is called candy striping. Candy striping is simply creating a spiral, never going back on the string itself. This is done simply in a repair phase to repair the net as quickly as possible. The problem with candy striping is as soon as you get a break in the line, you lose the whole line. As soon as there's a break, I can simply pull on one side and the entirety falls apart. Pulling through, very insecure, very easy for holes to open back up again. The second way that you'll notice nets being tied is what's called half hitching. And half hitching is when the string goes under the net, under the bar, and then behind itself, creating a hitch. So as you can see, very simple half hitch. Now this is okay. And again, same sort of thing. We can just repeat this pattern under the net, under the bar, behind the string. Okay, and we can repeat this hitch all the way across. This does an okay job, but it's not the best way that we can do this. The best way to tie the net is to do what's called a clove hitch. And a clove hitch goes under the net, under the bar, and behind, same way that we would for a half hitch, except now we immediately repeat the process right on top of itself. So I'll go again under the net, under the bar, and back up through. What we've created is what's called a clove hitch. So it's two half hitches back to back, but they pull into each other. So now we've created a very strong knot that can be repeated over and over and over. But more importantly, to tighten this and take all the slack out of the string, all we need to do is pull on one side and rock back and forth, and this will take all the tension out. So we can do this all the way down the line. This is most important because the number one reason that nets will fray and break is because the net is moving on the posts. The tighter our knots are, the less friction, the less wear, and the less you're going to need to repair your net. So as we can see, the puck cushion is a floating mechanism. It needs to be able to move back and forth. So in order to achieve that, we actually don't tie them as tight as we would normally. We simply tie through the loops, and then we half hitch through the loop, half hitch through the loop, half hitch. It's simply a supporting structure, and we'll tie this from the inside. Centering and then lining up our apron along the outside. You can put zip ties along the rivets if you wish, but usually it's only important to get the middle. Once we do, you'll find that we simply go outside, up and across, and then down underneath. And this is where we'll tie it to the net. On the underside of the apron where it isn't seen, underneath is where we actually tie in. And all we're doing to tie in is half hitching. So it doesn't matter which direction. I simply go underneath the bar, back out, and around. And I'm gonna pull this half hitch as tight as possible. Very similar to the puck bumper. Because this is a loose mechanism, we wanna make sure that the string itself is tight so that the apron can ride along the string and keep its shape. So I go underneath and then I'll come back up. And along to my next one. Simply hiding our half hitch underneath the apron. Once you get to the end of your apron, you're going to want to secure it at the bottom, and this is where we need to tie the apron to the net itself. So in order to do that, we need to put a half hitch in just before. Okay, so you can see this lines up just before the eyelet. And then from here, we will go through the eyelet and then through this last one and back around. Now this is where it can get confusing for some folks. The best way that I've found is to come back through. Okay, so I create a loop and then I come underneath to create a very easy round knot. Okay, very basic, like a half of a square knot or half of a reef knot. Okay, but I'm gonna pull this as tight as I can, get tight around it, pull that round knot. Okay, so you can see that we have one knot in here. Now to make sure that this doesn't slip back out, I do a second round knot. So I make my loop, okay, put myself through the loop, and then I simply pull that round knot right close to the other one. Now there's two of them here. This isn't gonna slide back and forth, and we're all good. With what's left of the extra, you can either tuck this up or you can tie it to another piece. As I'm lacing my top apron string, it's important that as I go through onto the bottom side that I'm grabbing the net and making sure that I'm affixing it to that so this doesn't flop down. So as I get closer to the end of the top one, I'll come through and around, okay, making sure that I grab some net and back through. Once I get to this position, I'll simply tie off the top the same way that I did before. So I'm going to come through, around the post itself, and then back. And a round knot onto itself. Okay, and then again, a small round knot to make sure that that doesn't let go. Put an anchor on the end.
and just pull that tight.